And welcome everyone. Today we are starting a day one of our Python challenge series. So we will cover Python syntax, variables, and the basic data types, and end with a small project that will get you codings right away. So let's dive in. Let's go to the files, new okay. Here we already have files, so the new Python package, and let's set the package of day one. So now we create one small Python files here, say like a syntax and variable. So here we have on syntax and variables um, Python files over here. So now Python syntax is the set of rules that the Python's programs follow. So one of the Python's defining the features and its readabilities. In fact, the Python's often looks like an English language. So let's say like print, and then we are writing hello Python lover. Now this is a print statement. So this is syntax. How we can run is we can just right click and run the syntax and variables files, or we can just go here and then find find these files. Okay, so current files. So these are the current files. So when we run this, now it says hello Python's lover. Okay, so we can put the comments for this by saying hashtags. So this is comments to tell you the below code is um, syntax examples. Okay, now we know that very well. It's like why comments we use in every program. So comments can be used to explain the Python's code, right? So comments can be used to make a codes more readable. So now it's more readable because we know that the code is a syntax examples. Okay, so we are doing the syntax examples over here. Our comments can be used to prevent the executions when testing a code. So when we run these programs, so look here, the comments are ignored. This is not printed here. So in this way, it will be more readable. Your code will be more readable if new programmers looks to your codes, right? And this piece of comments can go anywhere. You can put it here also, no issues, or you can put it below the codes, here. So it doesn't matter wherever you want to keep these comments, you can keep it. So there's no any fixed rules that you have to put the comments over here only. So this is the comments that we are doing, and then since like we already seen the instance to display the syntax. Now let's see the variables. So, but before that, jumping to the variables, let's see like multiple comments. So this is another, like the Python's doesn't really have a syntax for multiple comments, but to add the multiple comments, you have to ensure the line by lines, these hashtags. Like if you want like a three different comments, either you have to do it in this way, always. You have to use a hashtag and then you use the comments, whatever you want to write over here. Or there is another way you can do it. So this is like a multiple comments, so you can write whatever you want here. This is how you write the multiple comments instead of writing the hashtags every piece of line of code. So so you can use the triple quotes to write the comments on here. So this is pretty fascinating. So the Python. So now let's see the variables. So now let's talk about the variables. Variables in the Pythons is like a containers, right? That you can stores a data in. You can also change the data in a variables. So for examples, let's create a variables called message, stores our hello world strings in it, and then print it. So let's remove this all the stuff here, and then let's say message. This is the variables, okay? This is the variables name, and then hello world, okay? Now, so what we do is print message. So when we run these programs, so let's run this program. Here you can see the hello world, So this message work as an variables which hold a or container which hold the values called hello world strings inside that variables. So a Python's comments come for declaring the variables. So we can do anything here, like variables names can be anything. So we will understand the variable naming conventions also. like 52. So now this is integers. Y equals to, say, again, strings, hello. Okay. Now when we print x comma y, so when we print this, now it says like 52 hello, because the value of x is 52, so which will print 52 here, and the value of y is hello, which is strings, and which is print here, strings. But when you do some things like concatenations, right? So it will throw then errors. It says that unsupported operand type, so you cannot use the plus here. You can use the plus only when on the top of these is also the strings. Now both are strings, x equals to 52, y equals to, because they are inside the double quotes or single quotes. So strings can be inside the double quotes. Strings can be in double quote or in single quote. So it can be double quote or single quote. Now it look here. It print this because the both operands are same, right? Both are string and strings. So this is like variables x, which is holding the strings 52, and this is the variable y, which is holding the strings hello. So when you print this x comma y or x plus y, which is a concatenation, we're adding this too. So it says print hello 52 hello. So but when you put the commas here, you can put the strings or doubles or whatever, so it will not throw any errors. So 52 hellos, and there is some space over here. So variables do not need to declare with a particular type. So I already talked about that. So it can be anything. So we will see about the naming conventions. Even it changed, after that they have been set. So it can be changed after it has been set. So this is the interesting things about the variables. Now look here. So it says the x equals to 52. Now I say x equals to 16. Since before it was the on the top it was the strings, right? So now we can change the x variables to the integers. So that's why it's a changeable. So it's completely changed. So now let's see, like it's a kind of like on a topic. So castings, we will talk about these castings later on the types. So but we can see the types. So let's read out this and see like what types is a x, what type is a y, and what type is the z. Let's now rename these as a z. And then let's say this is the variables. Let's y be the, put in a hello in single quotes to check. Okay. Now to see what type it is, so print, we will do the type, and then we'll put the variables, what variables we are trying to see, right? Now let's copy this and paste this and paste it. So here y, and then here we'll go z. Okay. Now when we run the programs, now we can see here. So it's a class of type strings. This is class of type strings. This is class type of strings again, because this is a single quote or double quote, right? And this is the types of class integers. Now if we change like 20.20, okay, and then run the program, now it says it's a type of floats. So in this way you can figure out like what type it is, but by looking the values, it's easy to um, just tell like what type it is. So now this was and it's very case sensitive. That's very important things that we have to understand. In Python's, it's very case sensitive. So this x, and if you say uppercase x equals to uh, jack. Okay. Now this x, lowercase x and uppercase x, has a um, different values, right? So variables names are case sensitive. So this x and this x are not same. So when we see here print x comma x, okay. So if you print x comma x, now what it gives you the values? It gives the 52 jacks, because these variables doesn't have the same value like a variable lowercase x. So these are case sensitive. So um, like message and message, these have a different meanings. These are case sensitive. These variables hold different values, and these variables can hold different values or same values, but the variables are different. So that was the case sensitive we are talking about. So variables names now, it's pretty easy to see like when you declare the variables in the Pythons, right? So let's go. Let's read out another readout here. Comment down. Now look here. So now let's say 2x. Now it doesn't allow me to do that. Why? So it says introductions to variables. So when you click here, so var equals to 2. So it will allow only to use the first start, anything start with the numbers, or anything start with the, like a dash or whatever, or you can have a space on there. So here you can use with the underscores, right? But if you go with the at the rates, now it will not allow you to do that. The special characters like underscores are only allowed to use as in variables, but you cannot use the numbers, any numbers in front of the letters. But after letters, but you can use the any numbers. So this is how you do the uh, variable name conventions is here. Or you cannot do like hello and then message equals to 38. Now it doesn't allow to put the space over here, but instead of space you can do the underscore here, right? So this is how you do the naming conventions in the um, Python. So especially, like variables can be a short names or more descriptive names. So the variables must start with the letters or underscores that we already see there, and variable cannot have with the number startings with that. So you cannot write 1x, but you can write x1. And variables names can contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. So it can contain that, but it should start with the um, letters or underscores, right? So when you do the dash over here, now this is also not allowed because this will the Python's compiler thinks as an minus rather than the dash. So those things are also not allowed. So we already see like what how we do the good conventions, variable conventions. So multi-word, you can use a multi-word on here. So each word, so camel case. So normally you can use a different kind of case like camel case, Pascal case, or snack case. Let's see what they are. Let's say let's see a camel case. Okay, camel case. So camel case is like each word except the first start with capital letters. So first one is uppercase, and the rest of all are the first one is a lowercase, and the rest of the other starting variables will be the uppercase. So let's say person name, person first name equals to John, right? So now this is called camel case. What happens here? We started with the lowercase and started with the uppercase and uppercase. So John. So another we can write is Pascal case, right? In Pascal case, what happens is each word start with the capital letters. So we can write like this: person first name equals to Jack. Now these variables names and these variables names are different because they are case sensitive. We already learned in the previous. So snack case, we have another. So these three cases are mostly used. Okay, snack case. So what happened in snack case is it's separated by the underscore. So person first name equals to Jackson. Now look here. So these are the three different camel case we can use to um, uh, create our variables. So it's very important to know the variables naming conventions too. Now let's go with the data type. So we already learned about the data type, but it still like in a Pythons have a several basic data types. Today we will be focusing on the integers, floats, booleans, and strings. So we already seen the strings in actions, right? So we already see like a message, these and these, Uh, so now before like jumping to the basic data types, so let's quickly overview about the variables more in the details. So we can use the variables in a different way, right? So let's say x1, comma, x2, and then x3, okay, equals to, let's say 10, 20, and 30. So this is called multiple variables. So Python's allowed to assign the values to the multiple variables in one line. So we are, rather than, like doing x x4 equals to 50, and the x5 equals to 60. So instead of doing this all, we are using only one line of codes to print everything's in here. So let's say print x1, print, or we can say like this, print x1 comma x2 and then x3. Okay, so when we run these programs, you print 10, 20, and 30, which means the value of x1 is 10, value of x2 is 20, and value of x3 is 30. So, but make sure the number of variable matches the number of values, or else you will get the errors. So you cannot put like this. Okay, now here x4, right? And now you go over here and then print like x4. When you run it, it will throw the errors is not enough values to unpack because there is no other values here. But if you put here 50, okay, now this will run perfectly. There's no errors. So you have to be make sure like when you do the when assigning the variables to the values, it should be matchables. So you can assign the same values to the multiple variables too. So let's say now let's say x5, x6, x7 equals to hello. And that what this means is like x5, x6, and x7 has the same variable has the same values, which is a hello. So print uh, x5, print x6, and print x7. Now look here, it has the same values here. So too many unpacks to here. Uh, x5, x6, and x7. So let's delete that one. Okay, because we can't do this here, we have to put the equal sign. The equal, equal, and equal. Okay, that means like everything has the same values. Look here, hello, hello, hello. So x5 is also hello, x6 also hello, x7 is also hello. We can do the unpack. Uh, we can do the like unpack of collections too. So when we do a list, so we'll see when we do a list like data structures, these all things. But this is how we can use a multiple variables. So it is easy like output variables. So when somebody asks you the output variables, it's pretty easy. You can use like print. These are called the output variables. So this print functions is also known as the output variables. Never get confused. Okay, so we have another called global variables. So global variables is something like it can be accessed from anywhere. So variable that can be created outside of the functions, as did all the examples. So uh, we can see some examples, or because to execute the global variables, we have to run some functions. So or methods. So rather not to go that details right now because this is the first day. So we have a globals. We have a globals keywords that will makes the global A. Okay. So when you just say like global A, now global, this will be accessed from anywhere, from any methods to the any kind of functions, So we'll be learning more about the global variables. So, but this is how we declare the global variables, or simply we can write the variable name outside the on the top of that outside the methods, and you can access that. But global, when you assign anything globals, that will makes more sense to the compilers. Okay, this is the global variables. So now let's see the basic data types. So we have already seen the strings, so and some integers. So built-in data types, we have a lot of built-in data types. So like text types, numeric types, sequence types, mapping types, set types, Boolean types, binary types, and non-types. So let's do the we some quick my int. Now this is the integers which already we have seen before codes in well we're doing some before codes there. So this is in plots and my bool equals to true. Now, so when you print this all, that simply you know very well like what's going to be here. My floats, my ints, and my floats. So when you print this, so simply it says true 10 and 20, 25 because this is Boolean. This is my int is integers, which is 10, and then my float is a floats, which is a 20.5. Now that we have covered the basic, let's put it all together in the practice programs. Our programs will ask for your names and A's. and then print a message using the those inputs. So let's say like ask the user name and age. Okay, and here person name. So we are using the camel cache here. Input, we're using the input function here, and then because this will take the prompt from the users and then display on the screen. So enter name, right? Okay, here goes. And then person age. Person age equals to. Now we are doing the casting here because age is always in the numbers, so integers. So, but input functions always take the strings only. So we have to cast from strings to the integers. Enter age. Okay. So now, so since we have two variables, name and age, now we have to manipulate this. Let's say what happens in the next years. So now we have to manipulate this. So let's say manipulate the input. Okay. So here we'll see next year age equals to age a person age plus 1 because next year always it will be the 1, right? Now let's do the output message. Now see like a print because we're using the data types, the variables here. Hello, okay, hello, and then we have to concatenate this person name plus okay next year you will be, and then again the concatenation, and then we have to we have to do the casting because the next year is in the integers, but we have to change it to the strings because only strings and strings can be concatenated. So we have already seen in the previously. So that's why we have to concatenate this next year's. Okay, and plus year old. Okay, so now, so when we run, we use all these variables with the camel case and the snake case, and we use this input a's to add one more here to make the next year's is you're gonna be like if you put prompt whatever when you put the a's. Okay, so enter your name, Rakesh. Enter your age 19. Hello Rakesh. Next year you will be the 20 years old. So this is how you can simply use the data type syntax and the variables to create a simple programs. So if you like the videos, please do not forget to subscribe my channels. If you really like, you can share my videos to other people so that they can learn more about the Pythons here. And then we will be looking for our next challenge, day 2.